Right, there we go. Is there sound now?
Karen talking?
Is there sound now?
No.
No? Still no sound?
No.
Something to do with the mic pack.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's sound now. Okay.
Yeah. It's delayed. It's massively delayed.
Right, okay.
The sound is massively delayed.
The sound is massively delayed. Okay. Right. Okay, so you guys should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me? Let's see. Okay. Right. There we go. We have sound. See, I'm trying to be all like fancy and complicated and using like a mic pack so that you guys can hear me more. And
I think it's okay.
and then it goes all right. There we go. Okay, right. Everyone can hear me now. That's great. So just for you guys on Instagram, when I'm on Facebook, I actually use this, but we can only have the mic attached to the Facebook feed and not to the Instagram feed. We haven't got that far yet, but everyone can hear now. Everyone can hear? Good. Right, okay, on to today's show. Sarah, thank you for your comment about my shirt. And what are we making today? So just a quick hello to everyone who's come in. Doug and Joss and Sarah and Justine and Johnny and Anna, George, Bruna, welcome. Great, and James, thank you for joining us with the lovely spelling of your name. And everybody on Instagram as well, thank you for joining us. Right, now we have sound, so now I can tell you what we're making today. We are making hummus patties with cheesy peas. It is the end of our hummus week. So on Wednesday, it was International Hummus Day, which is the 13th of May. And we decided that we would celebrate for the whole week because hummus quite often plays such a big role in a vegan's life. Back in the day, it was pretty much one of the only things that you could get, you know, like when you went to like a cafe or something like that, you know, the sandwich option would be hummus and roast veg. That was like pretty much it. And then you had to specify that they weren't allowed to put butter on it as well. So, but it's a really good go-to snack, but we wanted to show you guys different ways of making it and also different ways of using it. So with this recipe, we'll be making patties. I didn't want to call them burgers, but you know, they're that shape. And so they're great for, you know, like when you like to have a plate that has some kind of formed thing, so whether it's kind of like meatballs or croquettes or sausages or burgers or, you know, that type of thing. We don't necessarily want just like a plate of veg, which is really lovely, by the way, but you know, it's for those times when you want like a thing. So they're really great for that. Just a few comments on Facebook here. Colleen said, trying to figure out the stars relevance underneath the rainbow. Okay, so at the end of our rainbow today, so everyone always guesses on Facebook, by the way, to the people at Instagram who don't know, everyone on Facebook, they guess what is at the end of my rainbow. So we used to have a competition where people would be able to spot the rainbow in my kitchen, but everyone got too good at it, so I had to bring it up a notch and start drawing something that went at the end of our rainbow, and then everybody would guess what it was. Unfortunately, because Instagram's ratio is different to Facebook, you don't really get to see. But there we go. There's our rainbow. And it has lots of stars underneath it. And the relevance is that all of the stars are all of you guys, all of our viewers. So there's one for each of you underneath. One for each of you, because you have all been so lovely. So we've been doing this for about, I think, 6 weeks now, since March 24th, and all of you have been so lovely and so nice, and we haven't had like one negative comment at all. You've all been like really supportive, and so each of you is at the end of our rainbow. So thank you. Anyway, on to today's recipe. It's a really easy recipe. So first of all, we have our short grain rice here. And it is better to use short grain rice when you're making a patty because it's kind of like stickier, it's a bit more gluey, it's less bitty with basmati rice. it will be easier for it to fall apart. Whereas with our short grain rice, it will stick together a lot more. A few people on Facebook said, "Oh, that's lovely." And so I'm using brown short grain rice here. You can use white if you want to. That is absolutely fine. Sushi rice would work really well with this. Arborio rice, like the risotto type rice, even like paella rice as well would work well with this. And this is designed to be a recipe that you can use up that rice that you've made the night before for the night before's dinner, and you've made too much, basically, because I know that is quite a common thing, that people can make too much rice because it can be difficult to gauge. Sarah said, will brown basmati rice work? So the only issue with the brown basmati rice is that because it's thinner, it won't hold together as much. It will still work, but you just have to factor that in, that it might be a bit more delicate and the patties might want to fall apart a bit more, which is a little bit annoying. And that's why I use short grain rice. But as I said, any type of short grain rice, whether it's sushi rice or arborio rice, that kind of like cheap short grain rice that you get, that would work absolutely fine. So in here I've got, it was originally 1 cup of raw rice. So in its uncooked state, it was 1 cup. Now it's 2.5 cups. Okay, so if your rice is already cooked, you'll need 2.5 cups. I'm sorry, I'm just going to take some tea at the moment and just like take a breath, because it's already been like quite an eventful show. So deep breath. Okay, so if your rice is already cooked, then it's 2.5 cups of cooked rice you will need. So that's our rice. And then we've got our hummus here. So we've got 200 grams of hummus, which is almost a cup of hummus. Doug said, the hummus monster in me says, under COVID-19, a week is meaningless. So hummus week lasts 365 days, right? I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Yes. In my life, hummus week and hummus day is year round. Absolutely year round. Okay, so in here we've got a cup of hummus, or around 200 grams of hummus. But of course, depending on how thick your hummus is, the weight to volume ratio might be different. It might be different. So, but it's around a cup of hummus. And then we have a spice mix. So we've got Ras El Hanout. I think I'm going to go back to bed and then wake up again and start this day and start this show again. We've got Ras El Hanout. So Ras El Hanout is a really, really lovely spice mix, and it's made out of black pepper, coriander, ginger, smoked paprika, allspice, cardamom, mace, nutmeg, turmeric, cayenne, cloves, and rose petals. There's a lot in there. And I wanted to show this to you guys because I used to be a real snob about spice mixes, but in the last few years, spice mixes have come a long way. So rather than just getting like your bog standard, curry powder, which was usually the only spice mix that you could find, we're getting loads of really good spice mixes. And this is one make that I particularly like, which is Bart's. I use their stuff quite a lot, not only because they're actually a really good product, but also because they have the name on the top, which means that in my vast spice drawer, I can just open it out and I can actually see what I'm going to be picking up. It really annoys me when you have spice jars that don't say what they are on the top. And I've even gone so far as to label some of them as well. But Bart's are a really, really good quality product. And so that's the thing, like with a Ras El Hanout, I could make it myself, but that has an awful lot of ingredients in there. And, if you can find a good product like this, then it's just going to speed things up for you massively. Really, 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 really. Justine said I'm doing well. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the support. I need emotional support today, I think, with this show. Doug said it's Moroccan. Yes, it's a really, really, really lovely spice. And Khan, hello from Bangladesh again. Hope you're doing well and safe. Yes, we are. We are very well. Thank you for commenting, Khan, and really, really welcome to you commenting more. It's really, really lovely. Everyone's chatting a lot more these days. Joanne said, can you get that spice mix everywhere? It sounds delicious, but never heard of it. So I did get this just from a supermarket. Joanne, it depends which country you're in. I don't think we've chatted before, so let me know which country you're in, and that might help. And if you're not in the UK, then if somebody else from the group is from the same place as you, then they might be able to help you out, because that happens quite often on the show and within the group. So you can use Ras Al Hanout, or you can use other spice mixes as well, like a chaat masala. Chaat masala is very, very nice, and that's Indian flavours. And then we've got a za'atar here as well. Za'atar would work really, really well. So basically all we're doing with the spices is we're just going to inject loads more flavour into it, because of course we've got the flavour from the hummus, lovely, 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 but the rice is what I would call a blank flavour. Doesn't really have much flavour of its own, so we need to inject more flavour into it, and this is one really, really easy way to do it. Inna says, what's the name of this spicy brand? Okay, so this one, well, they're both by Bart. This one is Ras Al Hanout, and this one is Za'atar. You will see that on here, autocorrect made it Ras Al Hangout, which is always really helpful when autocorrect does that. So it's not Ras Al Hangout, it's Ras Al Hanout. There we go, Ras Al Hanout. Okay, and Jenny says, me too, with labels on top of spices. Yes, it's very, very, very handy. Denise says, greetings and good morning from Savannah, Georgia. Lovely to have you here, Denise. How are you today? Well, I'm calmer than I was 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, yeah. Joanne says that she's in Ireland. Okay, so Doug says, yeah, it's in most supermarkets here. So you may be okay, actually, Joanne, if you're in Ireland. I think Paul and Mick may also be in Ireland, so they may be able to help out. Joanne says that she loves watching me cook. Brilliant. Thanks. Thanks. We do try. Okay, so really, really simple ingredients for the actual patties. We've got our hummus, which we will just pour into our rice. There we go. And then our spice mix of choice. So 1 tablespoon of this, which is a lot. It is a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. And the mace comes through really, really well in this. So mace it's one of those spices that we don't really use that often. You may have had it in vegan haggis. It's quite a dominant flavour in vegan haggis. I've also made white pudding. So white pudding, which isn't a pudding at all. So if we've got any Scottish people on, then you will know what white pudding is. It's a mixture of oatmeal and mace, and then it's made into kind of like a sausage thing, and then it's battered and deep fried, and you get it in fish and chip shops there. And it is one of those accidentally vegan things, or it can be accidentally vegan. Just don't fry it in lard. And then you should be okay. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of our spice in here, and we'll give it a good mix. Let me just see if I've got any more questions before my hands probably get dirty. Jenny, I have the spice mix. Could I also use pearl barley instead of rice? That's a really, really great idea. Yes, so any kind of fatty grain like that. So do you know what I mean by fatty? You know, it's quite kind of plump. That would work really, really well. So yes, pearl barley is a really, really great suggestion for that. You could also use maybe buckwheat. Buckwheat groats would also be good. Millet too. Raw Chef Yin said, hello from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thank you for Hummus Week. I love seeing all the interesting hummus dishes. Yes, yeah. Well, if you guys want to share your hummus dishes, then please do. We've got a really lovely group on Facebook, which is the Vegan Chef Community Hub. So do check that out. And then you guys can share your lovely pictures of your food. There we go. Okay, so we're just mixing this in. So literally it's just like these 3 ingredients for the actual patties. This is quite wet. So when we fry it, we do want it to be on quite a high heat, on a very high heat, to sear it. If it's on a lower heat, then they could fall apart. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to one side whilst we do the leeks. Let me just see if we've got any more questions. Khan said, I guess the pandemic is taking a toll mentally. Looking forward to coping by watching recipes and hoping to implement them. Though ingredients are hard to find here. Oh, that's annoying. Where are you, Khan, actually? And yes, yeah. We've had a few tricky months. But, you know, we're connecting on here, and you guys like have half an hour or 45 minutes where you get to listen to me waffle on about food again. so I hope it helps. Paul said, so Mick is from County Limerick, Paul is from Galway City. Yes, we are both in Ireland, but I missed the question. Okay, so Joanne was asking about Ras Al Hanout being available and where she might be able to find it. And she's in Ireland, so I thought that you guys might be able to help out with that, because I'm not familiar with like what supermarkets you've got over there and stuff like that. But in the UK, quite a few supermarkets are stocking really lovely spice mixes like Ras Al Hanout and like our za'atar here and chaat masala and those types of things. Ellie said, we'll look out for that spice here in the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar. I think you're our first person from Gibraltar. Thank you for commenting. But I haven't seen it before. It looks great. Do check out if you can get it online as well, because you know there are loads of places that you can get really good stuff online now and sent to you. Joss said, could peas be substituted for sweet corn or a different veg? Yes, absolutely. I am going to make cheesy peas now. Cheesy peas is a bit of a reference to, when was the Fast Show on? Jeff, was it the 90s?
90s, yeah.
The 90s. So it's a reference to a 90s comedy programme. But yes, cheesy sweet corn, equally as nice. Denise says that she's not keen on peas either. Oh, I love them. And also they're really cheap as well. But yes, you can swap it out with sweet corn or beans or anything like that would do a good job as well. Colleen, so they were asking about spice. Yep, got that. Susan, good morning from Willimantic. Where's CT, by the way? I'm not too au fait with these abbreviations for American states. But Willimantic, that's quite a word. Thanks for suggesting buckwheat groats as a substitute. I have a bunch. Buckwheat is such a good grain to use, a really, really good grain to use. It's a complete protein as well, if that's an issue to you. But I really, really like the bite that it has. And I've made buckwheat and millet sun-dried tomato crackers before, which I think maybe I should show you that one day, because that sounds like, you know, something that would be useful to people if you've got buckwheat at home. Johnny said, here is the link to the community hub. Would be great to see you all there. Oh, Johnny, you're such a sweetheart, honestly. Khan said that he is in Bangladesh, where there are very few vegans, but the number is growing, although there are a large number of vegetarians. Okay. Erin said, good morning. And Doug shared a YouTube link to cheesy peas. So don't go and watch that just yet. Wait for the recipe, and then you can go and have a look at cheesy peas. Okay, so first of all, we have our leeks here, and I did start to chop them before, ahead of the show, and then I thought it was probably like quite helpful to you guys to show you how I chop them. Because what I do is I chop them in a way where we're going to get rid of this outer, very thin outer layer. Sarah said the recipe for those crackers would be awesome. Okay, that's definitely going on the list. Yes, so when I cook leeks, I like to take this outer layer off because it's really, really thin and leeks can burn quite quickly. So we do want to be careful with our leeks. I'm just going to pop our pan on here so it can warm up whilst I'm gabbing away. Susan said, yes, please show us, yes, please show us how to make the crackers. I have a bunch of millet too. CT is Connecticut. Thank you. So I'm trying to work that out in my brain, but I can't. Deborah says, I'm in Deep River, Connecticut. Okay, lovely to have you on the show. Thank you for also telling us where you are. It's great just to kind of like have an idea of where everyone is coming to us from in the world. So when I've just cut through it there, I didn't go all the way through. So I brought my knife down, but then once I get to the bottom, I don't put much pressure on it. Yeah, and I just bring the knife out. And then what that means is that I can split this in half and just take those thin layers there off. So I'm not gonna cook those. The thing is, like, they'll cook and then they'll just be they won't go soft. They're a bit chewy and a bit papery, and I don't like that at all, so I want to get rid of them. And one of the other good things about doing it this way is that now you're on the flat. So that's a really, really good thing to do whenever you're chopping, is get to the flat as soon as you can. Because, you know, if you're trying to slice something finely, like this whole thing, you know, I haven't cut it yet, then it will be rolling around. It'll be, you know, it may well roll around on the board, and if things roll around on a board and we're trying to cut them, then what happens is we end up chopping off our fingers. We don't want to do that. So find the flat, and then it makes chopping a lot easier. So we're just going to roughly slice the leeks. So we're not going to finely slice them, we're just going to roughly slice them, which is also better for you guys, because sometimes when you're a home cook, trying to finely slice things can take some time. We don't want this to take much time at all. This is a great weeknight dinner. So, you know, when you're a bit tired but you want to make something from scratch. Okay, so Denise said, good morning. Oh, it's you guys. It's lovely when you like say hello to each other and good morning to each other. Khan said, being the only vegan in the family is so hard. Oh yes, absolutely it is. I think the most difficult thing about being vegan is other people. You know, I've spoken to a lot of people over the years who are new vegans, and they all say to me, you know, it's not that they miss you know, whatever meat product or cheese or whatever, it's other people. So it's great that you're finding your community, Khan, because I think that is a thing that really helps us. It helps you to kind of like have that have that connection with other people and get tips, and feel like you're not alone as well, which is why communities like this are really great. Erin said, yes it is, I'm the only vegan in mine as well. Yes, yeah, I'm the only vegan still in my family. My nephew did go vegan for 3 months and then he stopped, which was like a health thing. Like, you know, he was really good, you know. He was very strict during that time, and I was so proud. And I was like, yes, finally someone in my family is vegan. And then no, it's only for 3 months. But maybe one day he'll go back. I'm not going to kind of like lecture him about it or do anything like that. I don't think that's it. That's like not my style at all. I'd rather just kind of like show amazing vegan food and look healthy. And then that's the way that I can convince people. But everyone like finds their own route with that. Okay, so the pan was already heated up and I popped a little bit of oil in it. And now I'm just going to mix all this in to make sure that those leeks are really well covered. And now this is on a low heat. This is on a low heat because leeks cook very quickly. Very quickly. They're very delicate compared to onions. Onions you can be a bit more kind of rough with, But leeks, no, you do have to be careful. You do have to be careful with them. They can burn very, very easily. And then they might go quite stringy and not nice at all. We want these to be soft. We don't want them to be crispy. Okay, soft and not crispy. So when I'm mixing it around, I'm trying to get the leeks to kind of fall apart. You know, they will try and stay in, you know, with the rings inside each other. But then, you know, if they stay like that, they're not going to cook through properly. So use your spatula just to coax them apart. There we go. Okay. Erin said, leeks are so yummy. Oh, Paul, thank you for checking this out. Ras Al Hanout spice mix availability in Ireland. Yeah, actually, Paul and it was Joanne, wasn't it? And Mick, if you could tell us, like, what are the supermarkets that you have in Ireland? Because I don't know. So there might be one that you tell me that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you can probably get it from that place. Joanne said, yes, I agree. I cook for the rest of the family. Then just eat rubbish for me, as I can't be bothered to cook. Then just for me, oh, that is really difficult. That is really difficult. But I would say, Joanne, there are some ways that you can create dishes where it is vegan, and then you add the non-vegan thing right at the very end. So, you know, if you live with people who are meat eaters or fish eaters, and you have to cook for them, then that's a really good method of being able to feed yourself and them without cooking two completely separate things. So say, for example, something like a Thai curry. You can make a vegan Thai curry, and then if they have to have some, you know, seafood or meat or whatever, you can actually cook that separately. Take your Thai curry out of the pot and then add whatever non-vegan thing it is that they want to the Thai curry and do it that way. Because, you know, you don't want to be cooking different meals, completely different meals for everyone every night. That is just like too exhausting. Okay, so these have wilted now, so we can add our peas. Let me just see if I've got any more questions. Erin said leeks are so yummy. Indeed they are. No, I think you guys are just chatting, so that's fine. That's fine. Now, there is one thing that I do want to add to this, which you don't have to. Let me just get it from my fridge. This. So this is my kombucha, and I love putting a splash of kombucha in with leeks. Leeks braised in kombucha is really delicious. So this is plain kombucha. It's homemade, doesn't have any flavourings in it or anything like that. But actually using kombucha instead of wine. So if you're making a risotto, try using plain kombucha instead of wine, and it is absolutely delicious. Really, really, really nice. Okay, so in here we're going to add 100 grams of peas, fresh or frozen, doesn't really matter. And then we'll add a dash of salt. There we go. A nooch. So 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I did say it was cheesy. It's definitely going to be cheesy. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast into there. There we go. Mix it in really, really well. You might need to add a splash of water. There we go. In fact, we will need to add a splash of water. Just make sure that is mixed in really well. I'll get a bit of water. Just add a small amount, and then I'm going to pop it on the back stove just to keep warm whilst we make our patties. So for the cheesy peas, that's it. That's literally it. You do want to simmer it a bit more. So maybe for another 10 minutes, just leave it to simmer just so that it gets even more soft. Those leeks get lovely and soft. And that sauce will thicken. There we go. So we'll just pop it on here on a low heat. There we go. It can just go on a 2. Okay. Sorry. Excuse me. Okay. Joanne said, will you show us how to make kombucha one day, please? I already have, actually. So if you go back over our videos, you will find a day when I made... did we go over like kombucha just on its own, or was it kombucha cocktails? I can't remember now. And we also did kefir ice lollies as well, or kombucha ice lollies. Yeah. So the video is still there. We have put that one also onto our website. So our website is theveganchefschool.com. So you can check that out. And in the recipe section, right at the top is all of our live recipes, and we put them alongside the written recipe. So you've got the live recipe that you can watch with loads and loads of like extra information, and then you've got the condensed version in written form. So they're really good to look at side by side. What is a good brand of nutritional yeast, or does it not matter? To be honest, this is the only one I've ever known, which is the Marigold one. So Marigold, that's the same brand as the stock powder that I use. So I've only ever used that one. I don't know if I've ever even seen another one. I think I might have seen one on the internet. Yeah. And that's it. So I'm going to get this pan to a really, really high heat and add some oil. So with this recipe, you can just bake these if you want to, but it is better to put a little bit of oil over each side and then bake them. If you're conscious of, not having too much oil in your diet and that type of thing, then you can do it that way. You could try doing them without the oil completely as well. The only thing will be is that you won't get such a good brown on them, like that kind of golden brown that they'll go is really, really lovely. Okay, so you need to hear the sear when you put it in. If you don't hear the sear, then you haven't waited long enough and the oil isn't hot enough, basically. So we need to hear that sear, and I'm putting it right into the oil. So in this pan, it's kind of like raised in the middle, which means that the oil goes right to the edges, and that's why I'll be putting these patties around the sides, around the edge there, because that is where the oil is. If you put it where the oil isn't, then it will stick to the pan, and that's just going to be annoying. Erin said, what about air frying patties? That's a really, really good idea. Really good idea. They would probably have to be more dry than this. If you can see, like, these are quite sticky. These are really, really quite sticky. So I would recommend less hummus in the recipe, and then you might be okay. With my air fryer, I can't have wet stuff in it at all. Khan said, could you make vegan fast food for a week? That's a great theme. I like that. I do like that. So the other evening, was it Friday night, I was on the Vegan Society's Instagram doing an Instagram live recipe, and it was salt and pepper tofu, which is really, really nice. So that's meant to be kind of like a substitute for our takeaway. So that would definitely fit into that category, but that's a great idea. So next week we have actually chosen a theme, and it's going to be curry. It's going to be curry week next week. So curries from, lots of different types of curries, not necessarily authentic, because, it can be quite difficult to do an authentic recipe when you're not in that country because you can't get hold of the proper ingredients. But, our take on a variety of curries. So from Tuesday to Sunday will be curry week. And on Monday, tomorrow, we'll have Danielle back. So Danielle will be making, I think she's making a strawberry shortcake. I think. So let me just pop this to one side and wash my hands. You get very mucky with this, by the way. Really, really mucky. Yeah. But it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing at all. Okay. All right. So now we can flip these over. See how they're doing. There we go. Wow. There we go. And they will crisp up really, really well. And then be lovely and soft on the inside. So let's bring this in. I'm gonna, oh, there we go, guys. See if you can see that. Right, pop it back on there. Because this actually shuts off whenever there isn't a pan on it, which is very, very sensible, but a little bit difficult when you're doing a live and you want to show everyone the pan. Okay, so we just need to let these fry, and you can have them as they are. You can also pop them in the oven if you want them to be crisper, and a bit more chewy. You can just pop them in the oven. And also, you know, if you're not quite ready for dinner yet, then just pop them in the oven on like 150 degrees or something like that to keep warm if you don't want them to be crispier. But you can pop them in the oven, pop them on like 180 degrees, 200 degrees, and then you can get them to be a lot more chewy. It's really, really up to you. But this frying process with the rice creates a really, really, really lovely crunch. And it's similar to, there's a Nobu recipe, if you guys know Nobu. He's a Japanese chef who is absolutely amazing. And he has deep fried sushi rice, which is one of his recipes. I've never been to his restaurant before because it's like ridiculously expensive. But I have checked out his recipe books before. Not vegan at all, but I love reading non-vegan recipes and just getting inspiration from them. Okay, so we just want to get a really nice colour on all of these. There we go. And then we can plate up. Justine says not too spicy curry, please. Well, we will give you options for that, I'm sure, absolutely. Okay, and how are our peas doing? They do need a bit more cooking, so I'm just going to pop up the heat on those. There we go. Okay, and that is almost over, so we've just got to let the peas cook out a little bit longer. So if you guys have any burning questions, and now is a really, really good time to ask, you can ask questions about anything to do with vegan food. I don't know about anything apart from vegan food, so don't ask me any other questions, please. But yes, I know about vegan food. So if you've got any back of the cupboard ingredients, then please do let me know. You know, and we will help you to think of ideas, you know, things that you can make with them. That's always like a good thing, especially at the moment, you know, you don't necessarily want to go out shopping that much. So it's really, really great to use all of those back of the cupboard ingredients. And actually, whilst these are cooking out, what I can do is I can show you my sprouts and shoots. So these are our Carlin peas. So Carlin peas are from Hodmedods. I'm sure you guys know that I absolutely love Hodmedods. They're a UK grower and producer of peas and beans and blah, blah, blah. And these are our Carlin peas that are a lovely dark colour, and they've got quite a bite to them. So I'm going to make these into sprouts, but also make them into pea shoots. So we will have Carlin pea shoots. And our neighbour actually gave us some green peas, so we're making pea shoots from these, but also sprouts as well. And these are massive, really, really big already. So these have been soaking in water for a day, and so we'll be ready to get them into some soil soon. But we're just going to make pea shoots with them and also sprouts. So it's a really, really easy process, and I'm taking photos of it at every stage so then I can share it on the community hub and you guys can have a go as well. And then we have here some red quinoa, again from Homedods, which we're going to sprout and also shoot, see what the shoots are like from these. So this is a really, really great thing to do whilst, you know, you're stuck at home, because it's something that needs your attention quite often. Just every now and again you need to do the changes of water and, you know, that type of thing. So it's a great thing to do whilst you're stuck at home. Now, let me see if I've got any questions here. I have a squash that is too intimidating to peel. You don't necessarily have to peel squash at all. You can eat the flesh if you want to. I have just like cut it in half and roasted the whole thing like that, and then scooped out all of the insides when I've just wanted the insides and I haven't wanted the peel. But you can actually eat the peel once it's cooked, once it's roasted. I've even cooked a whole turban squash, which you can then cut into like it's a pie, which is really, really amazing. You do need to like stab it a few times if you're gonna bake a whole squash, just in case it explodes, basically. Oh, Paul said only 7 made, not enough. Sorry, no, there isn't enough for you all. Justine said banana blossom and a recipe for a cheesecake, please. You, my dear, are psychic, and I will show you why. So this is what I've been developing this morning, which is a baked cheesecake. Justine, honestly. But it isn't quite ready yet. The recipe isn't quite ready yet. I still need to play around with it a few times, which, I mean, it's a really difficult job for Jeff to be my cheesecake taster. But we will definitely be doing cheesecake soon. Definitely. Just said the spiraling veg recipe is good with squash. Yes, that's a great tip. Any good and basic salad dressing? Yeah, we can definitely put that on the list. I just made one with tahini and lemon and sumac and nutritional yeast. That sounds amazing. So wait a minute, you got tahini, lemon juice, sumac, nutritional yeast. I don't think there's necessarily anything missing there, Sarah. It would probably just be the amounts. So maybe just play around with the amounts and I think you should be fine. Johnny said squash is beautiful with a spiced lentil stuffing. Oh, that sounds good. Justine said that, yeah, she's done that twice. She's our psychic lady. You instantly know what the recipe is going to be before I even say. That's impressive. Okay, this is about ready now, so I'll plate up in a second. Joanne said squash, I cut it in half, then cook it. Yes, exactly. It's really, really great to do it like that. Because sometimes, yeah, we can't be bothered to peel these things. Khan said, can you feature cruelty-free curries from Southeast Asia? Okay, so the deal is with our curries is that we can't really guarantee that they're going to be exactly like, you know, like a Southeast Asian curry, for example, or an Indian curry or something like that. We don't want to say that they're authentic because, you know, they're going to be our versions of it. So, you know, they'll be kind of ballpark, but, you know, we've got to factor in the ingredients that we can get hold of in this country won't necessarily be what we would get hold of there, for example. Oh, sorry, we have a few people on Instagram saying, what are you making? Okay, so we've been making hummus patties with cheesy peas. So we are just about ready to plate up. There we go. Our cheesy peas have been bubbling away and softening. So we can load this up on the plate. So the leeks go really, really well with the nutritional yeast and also with the peas. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, I'm very excited about this lunch. Sorry, excuse fingers. I'm at home, I'm allowed to do this. Will the recipe be up? So you'll be able to find the recipe on our Facebook group, which is the Vegan Chef School Community Hub. So that's our Facebook group. So we always put our recipes there, and we are slowly adding them to our website as well, which is theveganchefschool.com. Okay, so yeah, Johnny, if you could put that recipe up, that would be great. Even if it's just like a ballpark recipe, that's absolutely fine. I know what you mean. Quite often, like, we freestyle, but you can just like put that in the recipe. So now we can pop our patties on there. Let's see if we can do 3 at a time. There we go. Really great if you can just do that in the pan, because then you can just slide them off. Beautiful, beautiful. And there are our really easy hummus patties with 1, 2, 3 ingredients in the patties. And then we've got our cheesy peas, which is 1, 2, 3 ingredients plus salt and oil. How good is that? How good is that? Okay, Sarah said, I just made last night the barbecue hummus recipe from Katie. Would it work on this recipe? Yes, yeah, absolutely. It would work really, really well. So in this recipe, you can use whatever hummus you want to use, whatever you've got in your cupboard, whether it's homemade, whether it's store-bought, it doesn't matter. But it's a great way to use up hummus. You know, when it's just like on the turn and it starts to smell slightly funky, you know, because it doesn't have a really long shelf life. It has, you know, like 3 days or something like that once you open it. So, you know, just before it gets to that stage, you know, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be able to use this. Then you can just pop it into a recipe. Great way to not waste it. Khan said, I will be attempting the vegan burgers tomorrow. Hope I don't burn myself. I really hope you don't too. Please don't. Please don't. I really hope you like them. Would the patties freeze once cooked? Yes, absolutely. Really good thing to do with for batch cooking. Pop them in the freezer and then bake them afterwards. You know, so just bring them out of the freezer. You don't need to defrost them. Just pop them into the oven. That would work really, really well. So guys, here is your close-up of our lovely hummus patties. There we go. And our cheesy peas. Thank you for joining me today. Sorry about the beginning. Yes. That was a bit crazy, wasn't it? But yeah, join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, different kitchen, different chef. So tomorrow is Danielle. She is our patisserie chef. So Danielle is she has decades of experience of being a patisserie chef, and now she specialises in vegan patisserie. So do join her. She is making, I think, a strawberry shortbread. So it's going to be delicious. And yeah, Justine says, problem with batch cooking is housemates eat it all before it goes in the freezer because it's too yummy. Well, that is a bit difficult. You might have to hide it from them. Or just go like, oh, it's disgusting. No, you won't like it. You won't like it. Great. Okay. Jeff said it's a thing of wonder. So it is a really, really yummy, really easy dish, really simple, really quick, just a handful of ingredients. So please do give it a go, see how you get on. Let me know, share your pictures in the group, always really lovely to see them. And thank you so much for spending this time for me, and have a lovely day.